Hello and welcome back to the channel. So here is my enclosure with my female, and that is all you're going to see. No, not at all. So we're getting to that in a second. And here is another mature male. This one I've got from my friend Al from AlsArachnids, so go check out his channel. But this male is so feisty. This is why I'm very, very hesitant taking this one out, because he has jumped out at us before. As you can see, come up, rushed up straight away. So I have to just be careful with this one. He sometimes runs at us, he shows threat posture, he's just quite feisty, where considering our female, she is a little bit more calmer. But as you can see, there he is. You'll get a glimpse of him in a second and see if you can quickly guess before I tell you which one it is. But there you go, you can see the feet. It looks quite darker, but look, the carapace is completely different from what you expect from a Psalmopoeus Cambridgei, the Trinidad chevron. It's just really gold and brown, this one, which is not sort of like the green sort of sheen, but he's surviving well. He's lasting a long time. He's constantly eating, which some of them don't, so we're going to try and get him up and in. But I just don't want him running back, because he will actually go into a display, this one. So I'm just trying to get him in easy. Otherwise, sometimes he runs into the female's enclosure too quick. It startles her and she could end up striking. So I think the best thing for me to do here is lift this up, pop it into the female's enclosure and see if I can tap him down and see if he can come out that way. Because the female at the minute is freshly molted in the back. She's a good size. She's way bigger than he is, which you'll see in a minute. But she's so vibrant. She's really, really green. So we'll just give him a little tap and get him to come out the bottom, but make sure he doesn't fold back on himself and come up the outside of the cork bark if you're not paying attention, because I'm looking through the camera to make sure that you guys get a good view. But also doing that, I can't see behind the camera where he's going, so it is a bit distorted. But there you go, I've got him out, no problems, and we'll leave him in there for a bit. It took some time to get him going, which you'll see, but I wanted to do this because I was going to change the female's enclosure because she makes such a mess of it, and she webs everywhere, but she just defecates all over it. So as you can see, the male knows she's behind there now, so he's picking up on her pheromone. She's a heavy webber, this one. I've got another two females and they just don't web at all. They're just using their hides, but this one webs excessively. So he gets into that position, and then he starts to move forward slightly. I think you'll see her come out in a second, but I had to cut it because he literally just sat still for like 20 minutes, moved an inch, and then sat again for another 20 minutes. He did take his time, unless he was a little bit nervous, but I think you'll see her come out soon. He knows she's around there, which is amazing. So he can't see, but he's picking it up off the web. So he knows she's there, so he's going in cautiously. Look, he's putting his legs as feelers first, because if she wants to strike, she could strike those. He can quickly get away, and he is so fast. So let's just see if he can entice her out. He's going in again. You notice he's not moving too far forward. He's just getting the tips of his toes in, trying to get you an angle of the female. She's fully in the corner, but you can see the coloration roughly there is not as grey or gold like he is. It's just like a nice emerald green, which is lovely. But I had to cut there, and that was another 15-20 minutes, as I said, and she started to wake up. He started to drum on the side, and then she walks out. But look at the size of her front legs already compared to his. They're so much thicker, and this is why he's so hesitant and he's moving back slowly. But she hasn't really shown too much aggression to him. She's paired with him before. She had a sack and she just put it straight into the water dish, and they all died in Paris, which I was absolutely gutted. So if we get another successful sack with this female, I will remove it. But this is one of the reasons why I wanted to change the enclosure, to make it a little bit more accessible, so the water dish wasn't in her way at all. Okay, let's see what he's going to do here. Off the experience I've got with this two together, he never seems to know what position to get her in. She seems to offer herself into such a position. He's just not really working it out perfectly. Like, he should be enticing her out to get into a suitable position so he can do it, but there, that's not a good position. So, but you can see now he's going to go a bit closer, I think. Nope, okay, so I had to cut because they sat there for another amount of time as well. But you can see her fangs are out. That doesn't necessarily mean it's a sign of aggression or that she's going to eat him. It's just because she knows he's there. He's a mature male. She's stimulated, and that's what they do. I've noticed that across all the tarantulas that we have. Okay, so a little bit more action. But you can see how the feathered hairs on his rear legs there, you can see how thin the legs are, but then the rest of it's just all like fluffy hairs compared to the females. And she's freshly molted, I think it was 2 months ago, and she still looks really, really green, and she's been eating well. But she's not showing the normal signs of aggression, so I thought this is perfect time to put him in, get them paired, take him out, and then I would remove her quickly and then redo the enclosure. So hopefully I can put that on the end of this so you get to see in a better enclosure. And I could put the water dish in a better place because she's a heavy webber. She webs over everything, so I think she's unaware of where the water dish is, and that's why she left the babies in there. And it was literally a day I didn't check, but that is it. As long as they're dipped in water, the web soaks it up and it can ruin the eggs. So I was absolutely gutted not one of them survived. So let's see if we can get him to go in a bit closer. It does take a little bit of time, so I might try and cut a little closer. Okay, so I had to cut another 15 minutes there because they just was tapping, moving back and tapping, but now he looks a little bit more invested. Excuse me, but you can see her fangs are out. She's sort of combing his foot with her fangs, so I just found that a little bit strange, unless that's what he's doing to gauge her temperament, because you saw he was right up on his enclosure, stretched fully out, and that's his way of going, yeah, I think she's susceptible, she's in a good mood, she's eaten. As you see, he's getting his legs back up, ready to bolt. He's holding in that place. I cut again because he stayed there for another 10 minutes, but you can definitely see he's got the confidence and he's ready. He's tapping away, but the last couple of times he did this, he literally does this and then pins her down. See if he'll do that. You can see he's got a slight insertion of one of his pedipalps, but there he's just flattened her straight on her back on the cork bark, and she's not showing any signs of aggression, like she's going to lamp down on him. He's got her front legs out the way, look. He's holding her fangs up almost with his legs, so that's absolutely amazing. He's getting in with both of them. I looked off camera here and he got both of them. It was a good insertion. So, but just look at the colour of him. I've had another male. Oh, there you go. She run off. I had another male that was a little bit more vibrant and it looked more like the female, but this one, note brown with a gold carapace. But there you go, look. So she's given him a signal there. She's had enough. She's moving away, but look at the size of her. That carapace is huge. She is a really big girl, and that's her done. Put herself back in her home, so that's her done. Okay, so we've cleaned the enclosure, and now you've seen us do this all before. Lucy's just putting in some gravel, which will obviously give gaps of air and water in between, which will then obviously evaporate through the cocoa fibre and then just keep the humidity up to the desired level we want it. If I need it more, I can saturate it a bit more and leave the water in the base of the gravel, and it will slowly come through. These here, I get a lot of questions about these. These are actually from The Range in the UK. It's a store, and they're actually pizza bases, but they're made out of plastic with wire inside, and the tarantulas can't get through it, so we use those instead of the mesh layer. And then obviously cocoa fibre in, and I use topsoil, but typical, no topsoil left, so I've had to just use a bit of cocoa fibre, which I don't like using on its own because it can grow mould spores. There's the girl there. So now what we're going to do is just use her normal cork bark, put that in, and we're going to try and situate it in a way we know she likes, because she doesn't like a central tube. We've hot glued on the left there a cork bark to hold this base in, hot glued the water dish at the top so that when she does do a sack, it's out of the way, and it creates some sort of barrier, which she does sit to the left there, in there all the time. But what I want to do is get Lucy to rehouse her, and the reason we want to get Lucy to rehouse her is certain individuals that we have. Look, there you go, you can see another Lucy tip where she puts the flowers in. That's all Lucy's doing, that is, so it looks really pretty. Is this one, she can be feisty. If there's one that's going to bite, it's going to be this one. So it just puts Lucy on edge a little bit. So I just want to get her comfortable doing these sort of ones. And the first thing I've noticed when she does this and puts them in is you've got to think of how the spider will go in and where will it go. Because she's going below the cork bark, it will walk out and return on itself on the underside of the tub. So I let her know, and you've got to put it in a position so you're only letting the spider go one way, which is down on the cork bark. So if you see what I mean, if it come out now, it'd go out the side, turn back on itself and run up your arm before you've got a chance to let go. So there, I'll reposition it there, and I'll show you itself, give it a little tap, a little nudge, and there's only one place it will go. And once it goes on the cork bark, it's got its own pheromones on it through the web, she'll feel a lot more comfortable straight away. So this is what I'm trying to do, Lucy, because we've got a lot of other aggressive, dangerous ones. And look, there you go, straight to exactly where I wanted it. And that's all in. So thanks very much for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed that one. Please don't forget to subscribe to the channel and give us a like, give us a comment, and I'll see you on the next one.